Science was one of the factors that helped in the search for identity. Important characters of this were Francisco José de Caldas, or El Sabio Caldas, who was an important scientist for Colombia or New Granada. Carlos J. Finlay was the doctor who discovered the mosquito that transmits yellow fever. In the United States, the Industrial Revolution happened because of the scientific advantages of the time.
Literature was also a major influence to people in their search for identity. People wanted to reject everything that related to Spain and instead copy the styles in France and England. Andrés Bello, born in Venezuela, was a neoclassicist who wrote the Gramática Castellana. The Ecuadorian José Joaquín Olmedo wrote verses as odes to the heroes of independence, and the Cuban José María Heredia wrote poems following the neoclassicist style. Romanticism also had a great influence in nationality. It was an attitude or way of thinking which impacted literature, art, music, and others. They called it the mal del siglo because it had feelings of pessimism, sadness, and anguish. Nevertheless, Romanticism fought for individual liberty, literary liberty, and spiritual liberty. It also strived to gain independence from Spanish heritage and have freedom once and for all. An important Romanticist novelist was Juan Montalvo. Another important form of poetry was poesía gauchesca, which used common expressions from the gaucho. Afterwards, modernism appeared, but it didn't originate in Europe. It fought against the anguished nostalgia and subjectivism of Romanticists. Rubén Darío was a very important modernist who was a writer and poet. As literature progressed, so did art. Art continued to follow European styles, even though literature kept becoming more American. Architecture included Greek and Roman styles, especially for legislative palaces, some of which you can still see today. Temples and houses of worship continued to follow colonial and Gothic styles. During the 19th century, many countries were in the search for their national identity. They created national anthems, coat of arms, and flags to represent their individual nationalities. This helped to increase patriotism and nationalism in these countries. Now you will hear a portion of the Ecuadorian national anthem.
Salve patria, mil veces, oh patria, gloria a ti, gloria a ti, gloria a ti, gloria a ti. Ya tu pecho rebosa, con su paz ya tu pecho rebosa. Y tu frente radiosa, más que el sol contemplamos lucir. Y tu frente radiosa, más que el sol contemplamos lucir.
Many Latin American countries were searching for an identity during the 19th century. They wanted to free themselves from Spain in every possible sense. Nevertheless, they began copying other European countries such as France and England in their architecture, literature, art, and more. Tendencies also appeared. These included Romanticism, Neoclassicism, and Modernism. Romanticism brought ideas of individual, literary, and spiritual liberty. Patriotic symbols were also made to increase the sense of pride, nationality, and patriotism present in Latin American countries.